Hello, hello! Welcome back to VBS Event Summaries. Now, I've got a little surprise for you all today. For the first time ever, the order of character focus events is being broken, because today, we have Kohane's fourth focus event, On Your Feet. Coming off the emotional roller coaster that was Light Up the Fire, it makes the most sense for Kohane to directly follow that. It would be weird if we went right to Toya Town, right? On Your Feet ran on the JP server from August 10th through the 19th, 2023. The commission song for this event is Realize. So, you know how it was only 2 events ago when I said that I started playing the game? Well, that's still true, but I ended up taking a fairly long break a little bit after Light Up the Fire, all the way to the 3rd anniversary, which means I skipped this one. Also, since the order got all mixed up, I never registered Realize as a Kohane commission. But all that is fixed now, because Realize is awesome and a totally underrated VBS song. Go listen to it. Gekokucho has brought us into the peak era of VBS songs, so it's all good stuff from here on out. Okay, this has been quite a long intro, hasn't it? I should probably get things started. As I've already said, we are right on the heels of the events of Light Up the Fire. That means VBS immediately started planning their next move as soon as they vowed to keep up the fight. They don't have the connections or the skills they need to surpass Rad Weekend as they are now, but they just need to take things one step at a time. The first step should be getting Arata, Kotoro, and Ever back. Easier said than done, but it's not like they can achieve their goals alone. At the very least, they deserve to know about what truly caused Rad Weekend, and everything Nagi believed in. That just leaves their massive skill gap, which isn't something they'll be able to resolve anytime soon. However, more time together should help them make progress, whether through longer practices or planning sessions. Now that it's been a few days, everyone's making moves in order to dedicate more time to their singing. Kohane and Toya move around their school committee tasks in order to free up their after-school time, and Akito even quits his job. Kinda insane if you ask me, but it shows their dedication, I suppose. Also decides to take a break from helping out at her dad's cafe, which Ken is supportive of. There's still a lot of lingering emotions swirling around in On's head, and seeing the Vivid Street locals like that so often is messing with her focus. And her dad even had a small talk after everyone had left that night, where Ken apologizes several times over. Though, did admit that hiding the truth from her was the right choice in terms of her singing. If she had known, she probably wouldn't have been able to sing the way she does now. That doesn't mean she's about to forgive her father, though. But still, she doesn't regret the path she chose. Let's get back to the present. Akito tried contacting Arata, Kotoro, and Ever, but only heard back from Tatsuya. He says they need more time to settle down. Understandable, it's only been a few days after all. After an hour of solo practice, VBS heads over to the Sekai to have the Vocaloids help them out. Everyone is pitching in to help, it seems. And with everyone so freshly motivated, there's a lot of good energy happening. They practice for hours, and even though it's getting late, none of them want to call it quits. But the Vocaloids convince them to stop for the night, since overtraining will definitely backfire. They're all about to head home when Toya gets an unexpected message from Soma. The next day, VBS decides to go as a group to visit Soma. While they're walking through Vivid Street, however, whispers of their loss against Taiga follow them at every turn. To the regulars around town, that battle against Taiga proved that surpassing Rad Weekend is an impossible task. Toya redirects everyone to the task at hand, but that doesn't stop the whispers from getting under VBS's skin. Luckily, a few old friends of Ken's are fighting the silent battles for the next generation. Everyone say thank you to the owners of Cole and Crawl Green for shutting down the gossip rings. Unexpectedly, the group runs into Kotaro on their way to the hospital. VBS tries to get Kotaro to listen to the story of Nagi and Rad Weekend, but Kotaro is still too shaken and runs off before they can convince him to hear them out. Akito grumbles that nobody wants to listen to what they have to say. So maybe VBS can make them all listen through sheer force. If they get good enough to turn every head on Vivid Street, good enough to overshadow Taiga's performance, then maybe they'll be able to convince the others to come back. Finally, everyone is introduced to Soma. Hits it off with him right away, but since it's been so long since Toya and Soma have seen each other in person, they start yapping about composing and songwriting like the other 3 aren't even there. Right. This whole Soma teaching Toya how to write his own music thing is supposed to be a secret, But it doesn't look like Soma cares too much about An, Akito, and Kohane knowing. But now that introductions and secrets are out of the way, it's time to get into why Soma asked them all to come see him today. As you might expect, it's about Arata. He's gone. He left the city. A few days earlier, Arata came to say goodbye to Soma and explain everything that happened to them. When Arata relays the information about the true reason behind Rad Weekend, Soma knows that something as inconsequential as a losing battle isn't enough to dissuade Arata from his goals. So, what is it really? What else happened? What else? Nothing else happened. Arata's done. He's giving up, and he needs to get away for a while. With that, Arata leaves Soma to fumble with what to do next. That's why he called VBS here today, so that he can know what truly happened. Something more has to have happened to break Arata's resolve in this way. VBS isn't sure how to respond. It's really not their place to say what happened between Arata and Taiga. Soma notices the expression on their faces and quickly backtracks. This is something he should probably talk to Arata himself about, so there's no need for VBS to try and tell him the news gently. In any case, he's glad to see that VBS isn't completely crushed in the way Arata was. It means that they haven't given up. An decides to tell Soma the story of Nagi and Rad Weekend, and once that's all taken care of, Soma knows why Arata made the decision that he did. There's some lingering feelings of uselessness surrounding the both of them, but that's something they can deal with another time. It's getting dark, so VBS leaves Soma to yearn for what could have been on his own. Well, that's strike 3 with getting everyone to come back, so the only thing VBS can do now is keep practicing and keep trying. An suggests going over to the Sekai to have a little treat to take their mind off of things, but that doesn't end up being the case, as the conversation quickly turns to what they've lost. Kohane is feeling really frustrated. They really did have a great group of people, and it really did seem like they had what it took to surpass something like Rad Weekend. But then it all crumbled in her fingertips, and Kohane couldn't do anything about it. As Kohane falls into an if-only spiral, Miku gives her a little pep talk and brings her back out. Everything she's gained far outweighs what she just lost, so there's no need to catastrophize and blame herself for how things turned out. The rest of this chapter is a bunch of sappy dialogue about how far they've come and how much they love each other and all that. I'm sure you don't need me to tell you how that plays out. They're always thanking each other for something or other every single event. It does feel a little more emotionally weighted after what happened last time, though. Finally, after 3 events now? Taiga is finally leaving for the US. Actually, this time, not just saying he's leaving soon. Ken drops him off at the airport with little more than a quick goodbye and a status report on VBS when prompted. Ken also says that there's one more thing he needs to take care of, and leaves Taiga to find his gate on his own. Just before he heads through the terminal, though, Taiga catches a glimpse of someone who looks suspiciously like Kohane. That would be because it is Kohane and the rest of VBS, skipping class in order to see him off. They came to tell Taiga that they're not giving up. In fact, they're going to go beyond his dream, because that's what'll get under his skin the most, right? Taiga's got that incredulous gleam in his eye as he meets the determined stares of An, Kohane, Akito, and Toya. They're serious about this. They don't care how long it'll take. They'll beat his ass, and then they'll keep beating it and climbing higher. Though, even with all of their fiery determination, Kohane doesn't let Taiga walk away without thanking him for teaching her. It's true that their rapid improvement is, in some part, because of his lessons. But it's natural for a student to surpass their teacher, right? And surpass they shall. After they watch Taiga's plane take off, the 4 of them start catastrophizing about the school they're missing. I hate to agree with Akito, but it's just one day, guys. One day isn't going to make or break your academic career. Though if school isn't your strong suit, like Akito and An, maybe missing one day is a bit more detrimental than most. Kohane, for her part, is more worried about what her parents are going to say. She's worried about getting grounded or banned from singing. Goodness, did they really just run off to the airport without telling anyone? These guys. Toya and An help Kohane calm down by promising to apologize to Kohane's parents together if worse comes to worst. They all decide to head over to Weekend Garage to tell Ken about the verbal smackdown they just gave Taiga. Thankfully, Ken isn't too upset that VBS skipped school. He's more worried that they did so without asking first, because he obviously would have signed off on it if he knew. All that aside, Weekend Garage looks eerily empty and clean. All of the tables and chairs are gone, and Ken's putting away all of his glassware. He's thinking about closing down the cafe for a while. Why, you might ask? Because he's going to help VBS surpass Rad Weekend. Yes! Finally! Ken's getting involved! I have been waiting for him to lock in and actually help VBS all this time. I mean, he's literally Ken Shiraishi of Radder. He's the guy. They should be looking to him for help instead of Taiga. Besides, as Ken says, he's more of a player than a coach. He wants to take this opportunity to teach them everything he can from inside the game, rather than the sidelines. As of this moment, Weekend Garage is closed, and the VBS training arc begins. Ooh, I am feeling the energy. Yes, let's surpass that Rad Weekend. We've been in a bit of a slump with VBS events recently, just the same thing over and over again. I think it might be the same thing over again starting from here, but I don't really care because this determination they all carry is so infectious. We really needed that setback from the last event, as much as it sucked. Now we get to see the other side of that hurdle. VBS is truly locking in, and I couldn't be happier. We'll be staying in On territory for the next event, another mixed focus for VBS. I just looked at the cards and the bonus characters for this one. Oh gang, I think I'm really gonna like this one. It's like it was made for me or something. Let's Study Hard is up next. I'll see you then.